Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Trying to get everybody in. All right, hope it's all is well. We started toxicology last class. We're going to uh, look at a PowerPoint this morning, and then we have a exit ticket question to answer. If time permits, I'll show the second part of the toxicology video. I don't know, Zoom keeps doing weird things. I keep clicking on enter, and folks are not being admitted. Okay. Okay. That's the other weird thing it's doing. It keeps saying that you're still in the waiting room, but you're also in the class already. All right. So while we're waiting for folks to come in, if you would go to Canvas, I am going to go through this PowerPoint with you, but you can follow along. I placed it in Canvas, so you'll find it above. Let me go back out. It'll be above the toxicology unit. Let's see how it looks to you all. All right, so it'll be after fiber analysis, the article. Mm. All right, so it is in your modules, so you don't have to take notes. The notes will be there. But do pay attention because there's a question at the end that you're going to have to answer at the end. All right, so if you all right, we'll give it another few minutes. Only half the class is here, so if you want to go ahead and let me come out of this for a minute. If you want to nope, we don't want that because that's not on yours. That's interesting things. And I'm in student mode. All right, while we are waiting, again, look at the overview. Last class, we did an introduction. So do the interactive activity while we're waiting. Give it just another few minutes because about 10 people still missing. And as young people, you all should Pay attention to club drugs. It's just the latest danger of being a young person going out and socializing. And all right, good morning. Good morning. Quite a few of you just came in. We're in Canvas. We are in, while we're waiting for everybody to come in, we're looking at a review of the types of drugs lesson, which is the first lesson in toxicology. Give it another few minutes for folks to come in, but while we're waiting for them to come in, please take a look at the interactive unit on types of drugs. All right, so there's a lot of vocabulary with this chapter, terminology that you need to be aware of as far as legality of drugs. So we have legal drugs and we have illegal drugs, or as it says here, illicit drugs. Okay, so we need to over-the-counter drugs. So there's different terminologies that you need to kind of wrap your head around as we go through this unit. All right. One of the things that we need to be aware of, as they mention up here, is your metabolism. Your metabolism is how your body processes all of the things that you put in it. Some people have a fast metabolism, some people have a slow metabolism, so that you know it affects how you absorb certain substances, food, drugs, whatever you consume, your metabolism dictates how it is absorbed through the body. Okay, and how so you have some people who are tolerant, have a tolerance for alcohol, have a tolerance for drugs because they have a different metabolism than you. And then some people can't take it at all, and just a little bit takes them out. So this is the danger of hanging out with friends who do stuff all the time and say, "Oh, it's no problem," but you've never tried it before and it'll take you out. Okay. So metabolism is important in understanding this. All right, I asked you to go through these, so I'm gonna let you go through, read this. I'm not gonna read it to you, but I'm gonna read the PowerPoint. But go through and read the different types of drugs and what they do, and also notice um, what they look like. All right. And we're gonna have a whole little chart to look at later on. Let me go back to the first one. Oops. All right. So they give you a diagram on this one. And dopamine pathways and serotonin. So those are two uh, vocabulary words you need to be aware of. Um, those are hormones that travel through your body. Okay. And so it affects the functioning of your body. So the drugs will affect the levels of these hormones in your body. Right? So, so look, so take a look at, you're still letting folks in. All right. All right. So again, go through this, click the button. There's quite a few of them here. We're on part of the lesson. The unit is knowing the difference between steroids and other drugs. With the Olympics coming up, they talk a lot about the steroids because there are steroids that they're not allowed to use or enhancing steroids. All right, so I'm going to come out of this and I'm going to the PowerPoint. I think we have enough people in. So again, with looking at the PowerPoint, it is in your module. It's above the toxicology module, so it's going to be after the article on hair analysis. And at the end of the PowerPoint, there is an exit question that you will have to answer. Okay. All right. So we're looking at drugs and poison. What's a drug? What's poison? All right. Poison is anything can be a poison. A poison is a substance that can be taken in sufficient quantities and causes a harmful or deadly reaction. So again, what there's an expression, what's your poison? Yeah, somebody said too much spicy foods. Yes, can cause, um, for example, I like spicy foods, but it gives me acid reflux. So it's not a good thing, but I do it anyway. But that is an expression. So it is, if it causes harmful, then it's poisonous to you. Um, yes, red dyes. So good, good. Isaiah said red dyes.
No, like I'm just allergic to it.
Are you really? So,
Yeah,
but
like specifically Red 40.
okay, all right. And it pays to be aware of these things because, like I said, it's a legal substance. Although they are looking at trying to take that one out of certain foods because a lot of people are allergic to it, so it's causing a lot of bad reactions. So that's one of those things that the Food and Drug Administration is looking at, taking Red 40 out of foods. But that is how a poison is defined, if it causes a harmful reaction or a deadly reaction. In other words, basically a substance that either harms or kills you in sufficient quantities is the other part. So there's always technicalities with this. Um, it has to be enough to cause harm or kill you. Okay. People, arsenic, people poison folks with arsenic, but water can also cause, like, people are too much. There's a fad going on, drinking excess water is causing bad reactions with some folks these days. Um, Oxygen doping, all kinds of oxygen is not a bad thing, but harmful, sufficient quantities can cause harmful effects. Okay. Sufficient quantity means, so you need to think about, what does that mean to you? Too much of anything is a bad thing. Some things are good for you, but too much of anything is a bad thing. All right. Intoxicant versus poison. Intoxicant requires that you ingest a rather large or lethal amount. Poison only requires that you ingest a small amount. Okay. All right. So you'd be labeled intoxicated. You had to have an over the top amount of whatever substance that you took in. All right. Another word, ingest. And what does lethal mean? Okay, let's back up a little bit. Ingest means that you have to take it in to the body, usually in through the mouth. And lethal means enough to kill you. All right. Toxicology is the unit that deals with drugs, poison, and other toxic substances, and how these substances either alter or harm living organisms. Forensic toxicology studies, figures out how the toxins got into the body and how they came in contact with the body, and what effect that substance has on the body. Okay. Examples: excesses of the state inebriation of an automobile or industrial accident victim. So they check out those situations. You can be on the job and they have toxic substances that are coming through the ventilation systems. And so industrial accidents happen that way. Determine whether someone died from a poison, or from a natural causes. So this is what they do. Or assesses whether the drug played a role in the criminal action. So in other words, was the person on drugs when they committed the crime? Okay. Toxicology, we started the year off looking at what professions that you might be interested. So if you were interested in being a chemist, toxicology would be a good role to go into in forensics. So again, forensics has a wide range of occupations. So a chemist would be a good forensic toxicologist. All right, looking for toxins. Most toxins don't change the body. Therefore, a toxicologist must look for further evidence in the body fluids. Okay, so in other words, they're not going to be able to walk up to you and say there's poison. They have to look at different other areas of the bodies to give evidence and samples for evidence of poison. All right, biotransformation is when one chemical changes into another in the body, and it's also called metabolism. So you metabolize the thing that you took in, and it becomes a toxin once it gets in the body. All right, metabolites are new substances that happen when the body tries to break down or get rid of the toxin. So as you digest it, your digestive system is trying to handle this substance that you took in, and it breaks it down and may create something else. If you take a chemistry class, you'll understand when you combine things, they create a new product, and that new product could be poisonous to you. All right, metabolite heroin is made of morphine. When someone ingests heroin, their body turns it into morphine. Okay, so what should they look for? All right, so let's take a minute and somebody do a little research. Let's take a moment for you to do that. What are you going to look for if um, person ingests heroin? So take a break and look that up. Put it in the chat. Google it. What do you look for when a person metabolizes morphine? I mean heroin. I'm going to take off the. While you do that, I'm going to do attendance. Come back in a sec. So you're looking at what is the person looking for? What should a toxicologist look for when someone ingests heroin? That's your question. Okay, when you put it in the chat, send it to everybody, not just me. Okay, send it to everybody. And again, while you're doing that, I'm going to do attendance. So okay. Thank you, Hill and Van. All right. Anything else? Anybody else have something to add? Okay, I'll be right back with you in just a sec, trying to make sure I get attendance done because this is like first period. we still have folks joining. All right, good morning, good morning. If you just came in, we're in Canvas. We're looking at the toxicology PowerPoint. And the question on the table was, what should the toxicologist look for? I'm gonna put it in the chat just since some folks just came. Okay. And you wouldn't know what we were looking at. All right, so that, come on, go. All right, so that's the question on the table. Okay. All right, so we had dry mouth, nausea, vomiting, and they would examine the vomit to see what chemicals are in there. Specific contaminants, biomarkers metabolized by morphine and codeine. Okay. Alrighty, let me get my share screen back up. All right, so again, those of you who just came in, we are in Canvas. There, just above toxicology, there is a PowerPoint, so we are looking at that PowerPoint. All right. What is the difference between metabolism and metabolite? Another question. So look that question up. What is this? And actually, you can scroll back through the PowerPoint for that. So that is our next question. Put in the chat, what is the difference between metabolism and metabolite? And again, put it to everybody, not just me. Isadora, you're already in, but it says you're joining. Now you're in twice. Yeah, I'm going to assume that one of these will drop off. And it did. Yeah, it looks like Zoom is doing some strange things. All right, I'm not getting an answer. Nobody's typed anything in the chat. What's the difference between metabolism and a metabolite? So that's what you're looking for. Metabolism, Van says metabolism breaks down ingested substances into different forms. That the metabolite is the product of metabolism, and that is the important part right there. All right, so metabolism is what your body does with everything that you take in. It metabolizes it, which means it changes it into something that your body can use. You take in foods and they need to get into your cells, but they don't, the hamburger that you ate doesn't go into your body as a hamburger. Your body breaks it down into proteins and lipids and fats and things, molecules that it can use. And the same thing with the drugs you take in, it metabolizes it and changes it into something it can or cannot use. And most of the times with things it cannot use, it stores it. Okay. So the body is able to recognize this is useful and this is not useful. And we're just going to put this to the side because it's not useful. And so we have that's how you accumulate toxins in the body. All right. But so now we're going to look at specific things that you can ingest. So metallic substances cause disease or death. And metallic substances, if you've done chemistry or even physical science, you might have done the periodic table of elements. And so you have a whole section of, yeah, you do have to detox. You, you would have covered a certain part of the periodic table is called metals, and then you have non-metals. And so the metals that typically tend to get into foods are iron, mercury, lead, copper, and they can all lead to serious health problems. Now, we need iron. Your red blood cells need iron. Copper has a certain value. Lead and mercury do not. Those are very serious things. Mercury, lead, arsenic, antimony, selenium, and other metals can kill. Okay, so you have to be careful of the levels of those. The fish you buy, mercury is in a lot of the fish you buy, so you have to be careful as to where you're getting your fish from. If the water tastes metallic, yeah, then this is true. This is why Atlanta is having this issue where some of the pipes, the water pipes are so old, they need to be replaced. So you're getting, this is why the water filter company is booming these days because there's so much lead and other metals from the old pipes that we're using. So now they're using PVCs, I think it's called. Pipes, so they're changing the type of pipes. But if you have those old pipes, you might get metals in your water. All right. So how do they figure this out? They test your blood for metabolites or they test your urine. Right? If you're going for a job these days, they're testing your urine for some of the drugs that you might have ingested and metabolized. A lot of jobs now require that you give a urine sample before they continue the application process. Right. Stomach contents can be removed, washed, and tested, and they relate to how much tell you how much was in the blood. The liver, the location where most drugs are metabolized. So as it goes through your system, it goes to your liver, which is why a lot of people have liver disease, because your liver processes all of these things. It's like a giant filter. All right. Vitreous humor is a liquid in the eyeballs. So they can kind of get some droplets from your eyeballs and test that. Your hair absorbs heavy metals, so they can test a hair sample. And insects that feed on dead bodies, they can test the insects for what they're ingesting from the body. All right, level of drugs in the body, you have normal and then you have therapeutic. Then you have toxic and you have lethal. Okay, so toxic will make you sick, lethal will kill you. All right, here is our exit ticket. So this is also in, and this says 3 to 4 paragraphs. I asked for 2, so I'm gonna come out of this and show you what your assignment really is. All right, so let's go to the home page. It looks like 2 people have done it already. Okay. Interesting. I didn't mean to do that, but hold on. There we go. All right, so this should be on your home page. It's not in the module yet. It's in the PowerPoint, but I'll put it in the module. All right, so it's the same question at the end of the PowerPoint, except I only ask you for 2 paragraphs, not 3 to 4, but I do want 2 paragraphs. Why or why not? So if you say you would, you need to explain. Or if you say you wouldn't, you need to explain. Okay? All right, so you can use information from the PowerPoint, and it must include three new vocabulary words. In other words, 3 vocabulary words that were used in the PowerPoint. Okay? All right, so everybody work on that right now. And again, if everybody would work on the assignment when the assignment is given, then we don't have late assignments. All right, 2 paragraphs, 2 paragraphs. So let me help you get started. You can start off by saying what a forensic toxicologist is, and then explain why you would want to be one or why you wouldn't want to be one. Mm, All right, so if you came in late, you want to make sure you go back and look at the PowerPoint, and I suggest all of you might want to do that anyway. Go back and go back through the PowerPoint, look for um, new words like metabolism and metabolite and toxin and poison. Okay, so I've added the question in the module right up underneath the PowerPoint. That's the best place to put it. All right, so it is there. Mm. I might add also 2 paragraphs. A paragraph is at least 4 to 5 sentences. So keep that in mind when you're um, creating your document. Something else to consider is the legal responsibilities of being a toxicologist. Remember, this is forensics. So everything we do is about, can we take it to court? All right, again, this is something that can be an assignment that can be completed in this lesson. You have enough time to write 2 paragraphs. Nobody should be late on this assignment if your body is present today. Please use class time for class work. I'm already missing somebody. Mhm. Please use class time to do class work. Get this assignment done, and then you can work on another assignment. But please get this one done first. I figured as much. I knew you were here before. A lot of Wi-Fi issues. You said a lot of people popping in and out. Okay, folks, we got about 2 minutes left to class. Again, hopefully you've had a chance to at least formulate your answer. Um, that it can be ready for Wednesday. Wednesday, we will look at the second part of the other videos. That being said, you all have a great rest of your day. Stay warm. See you Wednesday.